what's up? It's Jeremy Picker from Amber Creative.
This is Deanna with In the Zoning and Print Girl Mafia.
This is Ray Weiss with Printing the Night of the Lion.
You're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by
Terry Combs RG, Regular Guy,
and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Fashion to the people.
All right, welcome into the show. It is Friday, June 26, 2026. I'm Terry Combs. You can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery from Super Gamut and our Success Group. And this week, Terry, we are going to be welcoming Michael Thero with Pythias Technologies. He's going to be joining us to talk about smarter fulfillment through automation and marketplace integration. So it's great to welcome Michael back. We got to talk to him not terribly long ago, so I love it when we get to reconnect with folks. I know he's been working on a lot of cool things over there in his company, and so we'll definitely hit him up for some information about that towards the end. But he's also got a lot of great information that I think will help all of us as we think about kind of taming the chaos that happens in the world we live in today, right? I got orders coming from here. I got this happening, this person calling me, I got a text message, right? And so it gets pretty chaotic, and I think there's some ways we can manage that.
I was doing a little taming chaos right before we went on the air, right there on WhatsApp.
There you go. There you go. Plenty of message locations, right? So
exactly. All right. Stay till the very end, where Eric will help embroiderers ground their process by helping you defend yourself against magical embroidery thinking with his secret sauce. I love it.
Absolutely. So you guys thought that maybe last week they had the embroidery takeover with Eric and Lisa Shaw, and maybe we wouldn't talk about embroidery today, but no, that is not true. Eric is going to keep that train rolling. It looked like I haven't had a chance to watch the entire show yet, but from the viewer numbers, man, you guys were in force. So I love it. Congratulations, awesome. Eric and Lisa, for a great show last week.
Pretty good dad joke too.
Oh man, I didn't read that yet. I got to go back and check that one out too. All right. We are excited to have our good friend Teresa Hagel from ASI waiting in the wings here. She's got some news to share, the things happening in the promo and apparel world. Always great information. Teresa's so awesome at what she does there for ASI, and we appreciate her bringing her talents here to the Two Regular Guys. So, Terry, if you are ready, we'll bring Teresa in.
Let's hear the news.
Hi, everyone. This is Teresa Hagel with ASI, and I'm so excited to be here today to share some headlines with you. First up, S&S announces its new brand identity. The Counselor Top 40 supplier, S&S Activewear, has officially rebranded to S&S, unveiling a new logo and the tagline, "Take your vision further," to reflect its broader capabilities and future-focused growth strategy. The news of the rebrand was announced at its recent Growth Summit conference. Next up, L2 Brands acquires national park-inspired brand Wild Tribute. So L2 Brands has acquired Wild Tribute, a national park-inspired apparel and lifestyle brand known for donating 4% of its proceeds to conservation and building strong partnerships with park organizations. So that's a pretty cool, sustainable related partnership that I think is great for the industry. The deal expands L2's reach into the national park and conservation market while keeping Wild Tribute's brand identity, mission, and business model intact. And then finally, Dubois Textile names Scott Jensen as general manager. Scott Jensen has joined Dubois Textile, which is part of Counselor Top 40 distributor ASB. He's joined as general manager and brings over 20 years of leadership experience. Most recently, he served as Director of Global Distribution North America at Dexcom, where he led growth initiatives, operational improvements, and profitability strategies. All right, thank you guys so much. That's all the headlines I have for you today.
All right, Terry. As always, Teresa bringing the heat there. Some interesting news. Anything stand out to you?
I love the national park tie-in. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I have to say when I heard the SNS basically shortening their name to SNS instead of SNS Activewear, one of my both my sons have a good friend that worked on the AT&T account, and he was telling me all about how they rebranded, and he showed me the new logo, and I'm like, well, you just made it lowercase. Well, yeah, but it's all it's all. I'm like, well, it just looks like lowercase to me.
I love it. Wait, hey, whatever. And again, I trust me, I'm very familiar with the whole idea of a rebrand and what that means and whatnot. And so, if they're trying to really kind of, as far as SNS goes, get to a point where they're telling their story better, right? We live in a world today where it's all about telling our stories. So good on them. And
Well, and they're not just selling T-shirts anymore. So
yeah, exactly. I love that. All right. Well, Terry, yeah, we just kind of briefly mentioned at the top, right? The embroidery takeover last week. We really appreciate Eric jumping in there and making that happen while you and I were at the DAX show in Nashville, just outside of Nashville in Lebanon, Tennessee. And let's talk a little bit about the DAX show. But again, a huge shout out to Eric and Lisa. It sounded like it was a great show. So, Terry, what stood out for you at Nashville last week?
well,
we did it together.
one thing, and hopefully you guys can't hear, they're trimming the palm trees out here right now. So
Are you still dealing with that weather issue there? 9 inches of sunshine with no end in sight.
I am, but it sprinkled a couple of days ago, and for about 4, maybe 5 minutes. So it was kind of exciting.
There you go. All right, well, back to Dax.
One thing about the next show is we got to catch up with Dot Tone Dan. He was walking around the show, so it was good to catch up in person with him. And other than that, I had not been to that facility before there at the Tennessee State Fairgrounds, but nice facility and a pretty well attended show. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought, we were at that show last year, the first year they did it, and I'm loving that Dax is really, just trying new things. They're investing back into the industry. These are new folks to the industry. They weren't industry specific people before they bought the Dax show, and Nick and TJ and Maddie over there, I think are really trying to kind of reinvest. So they're saying, hey, where can we, where are people not getting served? And Tennessee and Nashville itself has had a couple of shows over the years. I think Impressions has tried there. I know NNEP used to hold a show there. And so I think it's a good location. And so it was good to see. We were a little worried, right? Like, okay, first year, pretty good, but it was a first year. So what's this year going to look like? And no, I think it was really well attended, as you mentioned. And the thing I always love about DAX shows is, yes, we're not going to talk to tens of thousands of people, right?
Right.
There's going to be hundreds of people coming through the door, but those conversations are deeper. Those conversations are good. Good questions. There's plenty of time, throughout the course of a conversation. I mean, like you said, getting to see Dot Tone Dan, I got to sit down at a table with Dan and his wife Darla, and we probably talked for 30 minutes, right? And I didn't feel rushed because there was, so it was good. It was really good to kind of build those relationships. I think the other thing that stood out to me, obviously still very DTF heavy, a lot of DTF vendors, but it's interesting to also see people that are just selling transfers, right? They're not in the equipment space, but it's kind of showing up and having booths. And so, that's an interesting marketplace. And then, what I'd like to see, what I didn't see a lot of were the embroidery people. I think the embroidery folks are really missing out by not being at the show as far as being exhibitors there. I think there was at least 2 or 3 people that we talked to that became kind of leads for us in the DTF space that said, yeah, I was coming here to look at embroidery equipment, but didn't really see a whole lot. And now that I see what's happening with DTF, right? And so
Yeah.
they changed their mind about what they were going to invest their dollars in just because there was no embroidery equipment there.
Aaron, I also had three people who had attended my screen printing classes in the past, and a couple of people asking me, and not a lot of screen printing there, but people asking me about screen printing and where to get education, things like that. One of the people attending was at my class in Chicago 2 weeks ago. So
Nice. I love
he's
it.
like,
I love
hey,
it.
wait a minute.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a really good point too, Terry. There definitely was not any screen printing equipment there either, for sure. And Brown Manufacturing was there, but honestly, they weren't even really. Didn't even seem like they were featuring their screen printing stuff. I didn't see the screen
Right.
printing press running at all. They were, they've got a new kind of DTF ish hybrid thing that they had their heads in a whole lot, but I never saw it really run. But hey, new technology, it's fun. Anyways, yeah, so I think that's what stands out, right? Like the attendees are there, the exhibitors need to come back. It's sad to see that people are missing the boat here, and loving, again, having those opportunities to build relationships with folks. And that has to happen in person. So
Yeah, I think ever since COVID, the trade shows have been kind of seeking their level, and I think you are correct in that the attendees are back. We just need to have the vendors back.
hmm hmm and I know it's cyclical, right? Like I know, okay, the exhibitors come back. Oh, well, there are no attendees. Well, yeah, because it takes a little bit, right? You can't just show up once and expect, you have to do your part, right? You've got to show up. You got to talk about it. You got to be there and continually be there. So if
Well,
you are not,
I talked to the two ladies who said to me, we job out 1 and 2 color screen printing, and we thought maybe we could bring that in house, but we talked to one company. They kept taking us over to their automatic press, and a lot of entry level folks go to the DAX shows. So
yeah.
there are entry level equipment people out there that are missing opportunities.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, one last DAX show this year. If you are not already signed up as an exhibitor there, I would go over to daxshow.com right now and reach out to them. I know that there's booth space available for folks. So, August 7th and 8th, it's coming up, and I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Now that they've moved it back into Minneapolis, it
Yeah.
looks like it's going to be a really good show. Minneapolis has been a mainstay for DAX in their 26 years of existence. So, I know it's going to be a good show. So, anyhow, I'm not trying to pitch DAX here, but I just think the exhibitors are really missing the boat, and we welcome the competition. Let's bring it in and have a wider breadth, like you said, the screen printers, the embroiderers, the sublimators. Right? There was not a single sublimation machine on the floor that I saw. So.
Yeah,
Maybe
100%.
maybe sewingmachine.com had Sawgrass one maybe, and I think Sawgrass is kind of hanging out with the guys over. So let me take that back. Sorry, I made a blanket statement without fully thinking it through. But it was not highlighted very much. So JDS, Johnson Plastics, where are you guys at? Right, calling you out. And then who do we need to call out in the screen printing world, Terry? Let's do it. Come on, get in trouble.
Atlas Screen Supply right there in Chicago, and as I said, 3 people who attended screen printing class at Atlas Screen Supply were walking around the show.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So that's potential customers that are now talking to other people instead of you. Yep, love it. And then Eric can call out the embroidery folks that need to be there. So we'll save that for him to do. he's
talking about
nicer than us, so he probably won't. But all right. Well, let's real quick here. I want to say hi to everybody checking in this morning. We don't want to get too far away because we got Michael waiting in the wings here. But we had Super Gamut jumping in right away. First comment, so you had to get on that first comment boat there. And then Chuck tuning in. Good morning, all. Ramona here saying good to see you guys back, though I did really enjoy the embroidery specific segment last week. Yep, again, looks like a lot of people enjoyed that. And then, but don't you worry, Eric will be here at the end, on screen, back on screen live, he's got a great secret sauce for us. So don't go anywhere. And then Kim Johnson checking in from hot, humid, stormy Oklahoma. Yeah, it's you're back in the Midwest, Kim. You're gonna have to get used to that again. All right. Well, Terry, before we get Michael in here, shall we do a dad joke? I'm not sure if I'm going to live up to Eric's from last week, but I'll do my best here.
Absolutely. Let's hear your dad joke.
All righty. All right, Terry, did you hear about the famous pickle?
I did not hear about the famous pickle.
Yeah, he's a really big dill. Terry, for the podcast listeners, Terry, go ahead.
For podcast listeners, dill and deal. I understand he has a sour disposition, though.
He does. It's a little spicy at times, but I will have to give a shout out to the church I attend here in St. Peter's, Grace River. For Father's Day last week, on screen they had a whole bunch of dad jokes rolling, and so I did borrow that from church there.
We're taking pictures of that.
Yeah. Oh, there's a good one. All right.
All right. Well, before we continue hanging on to that dad joke thread, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We still need your voices. We would love to have the regulators participate in our show intros. Go to osg.link/intro, read a few sentences, and be a part of every show. Don't be left out. We are always looking for new guests, so if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2 regular guys to book a future episode, or email us at info@tworegularguys.com with your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. We would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcast, YouTube Podcast, wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there. And if you're watching us live right now, please join in with your comments and your questions and add your thoughts to the chat.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. So, Terry, let's do this. Are you ready to bring Michael in here?
Let's do.
All right. Michael, welcome. Welcome back.
Well, thank you.
All right. Hey, so Michael, it's not been too long, but remind us about your journey into the commerce and fulfillment space and in this decorating world.
Yeah, so I got my start when a company called T-Shirt Palace hired me to redo their website. And as I was doing that, I saw the chaos in their operation, which caused chaos on the production floor. So I wrote software to help them mend everything together, and that's what eventually became Pythias.
Nice. The fixer of all things chaos. I like it. Perfect. Well, Michael,
years of going out on production floors, I can certainly agree with you. You walk in and just madness out on the production floor.
Yeah. But I love it when you have somebody like Michael that's willing to come in and say, okay, there's got to be a better way, right? And so using your talents, you were brought in to build a website, and next thing you've got this company based on all that. So I love that. All right, well, Michael, I know there's a ton we're going to cover here today, and I know you're a big tools and kind of bringing all that stuff together. But when you kind of walked in that first day, right? What were the signs there, or what maybe are signs people need to be looking at? I'm a print shop, and maybe I've outgrown my current way of managing orders, managing production, managing inventory, managing shipping. What are some of the signs that you've seen with the clients you work with where you started with this process that you mentioned there?
Yeah, well, if you're running your shop out of spreadsheets in your inbox, you probably have outgrown your system. If you're hiring people just to enter listings on different marketplaces, you've probably outgrown your system, because all that causes mistakes. It causes problems in the production because people mistype things. Then you don't know what it is. You have to figure it out, and it just causes chaos.
For sure. Yep. All right. So those signs, you're basically, where you're seeing okay, I'm hiring somebody, I'm bringing in more people, I'm, trying to kind of manage things, and you've got this piece, and it's not really talking to this piece, and like inventory, I guess, is another one. Michael, can you speak to us a little bit about kind of inventorying and shipping, and where you're seeing people have disconnects there as well?
Yeah, so inventory is important to not run it on a spreadsheet because that's always stale data. So you're thinking you have this, but they've already sold. You really need a system that will subtract as you produce, because if that doesn't happen, then you're thinking you have one thing when you don't, and then your orders are late, and that's even more. You lose customers, you lose money on that.
Okay, love it.
Well, so a lot of shops grow by saying yes to more work. And this kind of takes me back to 2 weeks ago when we had our show on sales versus production. And salespeople going, "Oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can take that order. Sure, we can get that out for you." Where does this saying yes to more work start to create problems behind the scenes, as you see it?
Yeah, so every channel that you sign up to sell on, or every order that comes in, you really, that's another place to check, another place where things could go wrong. Um, your work scales with your head count of people because nothing's automated. Errors creep in that way. Each one costs money and customers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely that. All right. Well, and chaos has come up multiple times here already. So, and I know you're from what you're doing, right? You're looking at that shop that's in that place of feeling chaotic. So,
Hmm.
what do you usually find is the first issue that you try to identify, right? Like, so there's clearly, if there's chaos, there's clearly a workflow issue. But
Yeah.
what might be that first place that you look?
Well, the most important thing is having a single place of truth. So a single dashboard where you have everything listed. So the biggest thing is getting your orders in correctly from all the marketplaces into one place, instead of trying to fulfill orders from this marketplace and that marketplace, and then it's just not connected. Really, that's one of the most important things.
Gotcha. That what if you guys that are tuned in right now, what Michael just said, I think, is crucially important, right? One, and I'm going to mess this up, but basically, you said one area of truth, right? Like
Yeah.
one bit of data that is, yeah. I think that's a really good point, right? You think about that, like, okay, I got this order that somebody texted to me, and I just scratched it down on a napkin, and that's my order sheet, right? Like maybe they've even gone to that where they actually have an actual order sheet where they're writing stuff out. But again, that stuff, as you said before, is stale, right? And so now
Yeah.
I've got an order from Etsy, and I just print out a packing slip or whatever comes with that. And now I've got an order from Shopify, and I'm printing. Yeah, I like that. That's definitely.
Well, another thing is when you hire people to list things on multiple marketplaces and get multiple people doing it, you're each one will have a different shorthand for things, and then that shorthand doesn't always transfer in the production floor. So, or there's typing mistakes. Really, you need a place where you could just upload those without having people type stuff out.
Yeah, love it.
And this could be internal as well. I remember consulting with a shop once, and I'm like, why do you have such a short window to get the art done, get the screens done, get printing done? And oh, well, the vice president of operations likes to look at every order before it goes to the production floor, and he's really busy. So sometimes they sit on his desk for a week. And I went in and had a conversation with him, and I said, "Do you need to see the original copy, or could you just get a photocopy of this and for when you have an opportunity to peruse them?" "Oh yeah, copy would be fine." So I basically cut out 4 to 5 days of production just by saying, "Hey, could you just look at a copy of this order?" So there are so many things out there that we can do to make things less chaotic. I'm gonna hang on to your word there. But Michael, we hear a lot of talk about automation. We've done a special show this year on automation, but that word feels big. It sounds expensive. What are some simple things that that a decorator can automate first without, turning their whole business upside down? Where do you start with automation?
Yeah, so what you start with is repetitive tasks. So anything that you're doing over and over again, and it takes time and takes your people away from producing. Um, okay. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep, we can.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I just heard a beep in my ear.
Oh, yeah.
You want people looking at your art quality, making judgment calls, things for customer relations, but other things like things that cause errors, routing, labels, tracking inventory, that kind of things you want automated.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then, where would you start with that automation though? Like what does that look like for you? Let's just say, you put yourself in your customer's shoes before you had this technology that you've created. Like what's that kind of first place to start with automation?
Really, the first place is automate your listings, automate your order intake. That way, it's not prone to errors, because having a system to do that makes it less chaotic on your production floor.
Okay. All right. Well, Terry, should we move on to inventory then?
Yeah, yeah. Michael, you mentioned inventory and how it could be a major pain point for really all decorators. What are some common inventory mistakes that create delays, create misprints, create lost profit?
Yeah, well, not having a system in place where you know where things are in your shop is one of the biggest things.
Okay.
People grab the wrong shirts, then they print them, and then you're like, well, this is the wrong shirt or garment, and then you got to go out and do it again, and that's lost profit right there.
For sure.
Not having proper counts of things, so you have orders coming in, then you go and you look for it because you think you have it and you don't, so then you have to order it. It takes days to come in. That slow process there, that could cause you to lose your customers if they needed it right away. No real deduction of when the order comes in, minusing out the inventory again. That's causing late orders.
Yeah.
Well, and another area too that I've run into in the past is not taking a account in for spoilage. So yes, we printed 48 mediums, but we spoiled 2, and at some point in time, our inventory numbers are incorrect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another big one.
And Michael, to your point, right? If you're doing that on spreadsheets, right? Like you could miss that. That could be stale data. You won't, again, you thought you had it, you didn't order it, and then it's there, the order's there, but the inventory is not there. And like you said, okay, we've got to order it from, right? And so not only is it going to take, maybe days to get there, but you're ordering just a couple pieces, and now you're going to have to pay for an exorbitant amount of shipping on just a couple of pieces, as opposed to maybe getting to a free freight threshold or being able to spread out the shipping over a normal inventory type order. So
yeah, another thing is having a good system to predict how many you're going to need. So like, I built an AI that will actually look at your past orders to predict what you're going to need in the future. So you always have a reasonable count of what's in inventory.
Oh, that's cool.
That's great.
Cool. Yeah, really smart to like be looking ahead, because I think that also allows businesses to have more of what I would call, just in time inventory, right? So you're again predicting the future as best you can and using AI to help with that. That's awesome. I love that. All right. So Michael, I want to we're just going to keep going kind of down through this process here, because we're hitting a lot of different areas that I think we can clean up chaos if we think differently about it. You mentioned having that one place of truth. Ramona here said, done and done. My website now takes orders and everything's in writing, so I can refer back to it if needed, right? She's got one place where all of the orders come through. But I think where the next part that you've kind of indicated to us, and what Terry and I have seen in our travels, is now maybe we have that in one place, but how are you then connecting to your production? How are you then connecting to the shipping process out the other end? So, what do companies need to understand about that next stage of, okay, now I've got all the orders in one place potentially, but what about that next stage of connecting that now to production workflow and shipping process?
Yeah. So really, you need a good flow from the order comes in, it gets to the floor, they have a way to print out what they need. All that goes into your printers. The printers get the artwork correctly. Then it goes to your shipping, and the shipping, the labels can just be printed easily without having to look up the order or things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Our system really helps with that because we print out labels with barcodes on it. When you get the printer, you scan it. That image goes straight to your printer. They don't have to look it up. There's no, and then when they get the shipping, they just scan it and it prints out the label and they ship it. So
I love it.
Well, Michael, AI is everywhere right now. A subject that was never mentioned on this show 2 years ago. Now it's unappreciated. Uh, where do you see AI being genuinely useful in custom apparel fulfillment, and where should shop owners be careful with AI?
yeah, where they should be careful is quality and judgment and relationships. Don't just trust blindly what the AI says because it's smart, but it doesn't have the judgment a person will have.
Yes.
Then really where you should use it is in your back office, your SEO descriptions, categorization, forecasting, support, decisions. Other than that, really you need people to make quality judgments on things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I giggled when you said that because I do see way too many people I call them the copy and paste warriors, where, they're allowing AI to make their decisions. They're allowing AI to write them, to be them, right? Like, I get it. Like, we can train AI and it can get really good and it can sound like you and all that other stuff. But yes, I appreciate
Well,
that you brought that to the table.
yeah, and AI is gleaning all that information from the internet, and then all those copy and paste people are assuming that everything on the internet is true.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother issue, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
that's
then
right.
a lot of AIs like ChatGPT are trained to tell you what you want to hear and not necessarily what the truth is.
Yes.
Yep.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. Really good point. And you have to be aware of that. Cool. All right. Well, without getting too far into a whole AI debate, but I do appreciate where you shared with that, Michael. That's very true in my mind. But I want to talk next about, I know you've worked with different people from different aspects, and where your focus now is kind of helping that kind of medium. I know you work with large people as well, but you saw a space in the market for those kind of medium to smaller folks as well. So, what are some ways that they might be able to compete with those big fulfillment providers without it becoming a race to the bottom on price?
Yeah, so really it's about speed and flexibility and relationships.
Okay.
Find a niche, be that person that they can rely on, be fast with your production, build your relationship strong. Automation really lets a small company punch above what it actually is. You don't beat the big guys on price, you beat them on speed and systems. A 3-person shop can run like a 30-person shop if you have the right system.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I like that. So let's talk about software and automation tools. So one of our listeners out there is thinking, okay, yeah, I need to do something like this. What questions should they ask before they buy anything?
Yeah, does it connect all my channels or just one? You really want something that is robust where you can sell everywhere, but everything comes right to you. Does it own the whole workflow, or does it just have part of it? So do I have to use this plus this plus this, or is it just one system that does everything? Is it going to grow with me, or am I going to outgrow it and then have to find something else later? What the real total cost is. So like, like with Shopify, when you set up your store, you have a cost, but then you have to buy skins for your website. You have to buy, uh, to be able to show sales and SEO, you have to buy all these different apps.
Yeah.
So that's the real cost of that is a lot higher than what you pay for Shopify. Um, so that's kind of where Pythias is trying to help people.
Nice.
Michael, I think too, you really hit on something there when you said, is it going to grow with me? Because we certainly are all of a mindset, most of us are of a mindset that we want to grow our businesses. And I see that shortfall, not just in software or automation tools, but I tell people, like buying a dryer. Don't buy a dryer for what you need today. Buy a dryer for what you need tomorrow, and so that with growth as a mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that the questions you're mentioning, right, are getting people to, let's look at the big picture, right? Not just, like you said, this one tool. I think you could kind of piecemeal some things together, but what issues are you creating by doing that, right? The whole purpose of this exercise of saying, let's tame the chaos is saying, let's get it all into one place. Let's have a system that talks from front to back and to Terry's point, looking into the future there. So Michael, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Having everything come into one system stops the chaos because now you're not having to go to, your Shopify store to look at that, Etsy to look at that, and then your production software, where nothing ever communicates with itself. So you want something that communicates all together. That way, you can produce faster. You can get those bigger customers because you have a system in place to do so.
Yeah. I almost look at that like, the people that are, doing the business each day, your production, your customer service, your sales, all these people, like how many logins do they have to do their job, right? I think that's a really good sign of how much chaos tax you're paying. I love it. All right. Well, Michael, this has been awesome. I think we could talk about these kinds of things all over the place, but I think you've given us a really clear picture of how to go from point A to point B here. What I want to hear a little bit more about the program that you've got through that you've built, and so maybe I'm sitting there on the other end of this going, okay, yeah, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. I'm paying this chaos tax. Everything these guys are saying makes sense to me. What does your program do for them? What does it help them improve?
Yeah, so our program helps them improve their listings. It helps them improve their production. It helps them with their artwork. It can upscale your artwork. If you have people send you a file that's degraded, it'll upgrade it with AI. It helps every step of the way.
Okay.
So from orders coming in to fulfillment.
Love it. And do you, like, on the front end, is you mentioned Shopify and some other things. Does that stuff matter, or how does that look for you?
Yeah, so we can connect to any we connect over 200 channels through our system. So wherever you want to sell, you can sell. Okay. We also just launched Storefront, which is a Shopify replacer that it's AI driven. So all you have to do is describe what you want, and it builds it for you.
Very cool.
That way, you're not having to spend on all those different apps on Shopify. Everything's built in for you.
Built in right in there.
And for like shops like what your listeners do, Shopify is really hard to do because if you put a lot of products with the same design on it, their search doesn't allow you to filter for that, right? So you just end up with a bunch of products with the same design, and nobody wants to just see the same design on a bunch of products. Our search actually helps them filter and see that there's a lot of styles, but it only shows one of them.
Got it. Very cool. I love that.
So, Michael, I'm guessing there's a lot of conversation on the front end of this relationship with your new customers.
Yeah, we do have onboarding where we do a remote onboarding for a week where we sit down, we talk with them and help them walk through the system. Or we have a we'll send someone out, but that's a little more expensive.
Sure.
To actually go out to the shop and set everything up for you. But our main focus is helping people grow. What we really want to do is build a community of people that can help each other grow into, you know, to a bunch of little people that can compete with Amazon, because you have such a good system that Amazon can't compete with you.
That's awesome. I love that.
I love that.
Can I ask one more question? Because so we talked about the front end, right? I love that you shared that. What about the back end, right? Like, do you, as far as like the shipping and that stuff, do you then pass that off at that point, or does your system also
Nope,
handle
our
that?
system does all the shipping for you too. So you put in your credentials for FedEx, UPS, USPS. All you do is scan and ship it, and it prints the label for you
Okay.
automatically.
And so you're using barcode scanning as kind of the tool to track everything. I love that.
Yep.
And I think people are so afraid of barcodes, like it's this foreign thing. It's super simple. I
It's
realized how
super
simple.
simple, super easy, super fast. Everything, all the information's on that barcode. All you do is go to the station that you're at and scan it, and everything works.
Yeah, I love it.
I
I
love
mean,
it.
I don't do a lot of this, but this sits next to my desk. I mean, I use this, just in like normal every day, my barcode scanner, and it sits next to my desk here. Crazy. That's how much I love barcodes. Okay, awesome. Well, this is cool stuff. Michael, this has been great. Terry, you got another question for Michael?
Oh, I was just going to ask Michael, how can our listeners reach out to you?
Yeah, so you can reach out to us at pythiastechnologies.com. That's Pythias, pythiastechnologies.com. Then we just opened a founding member program. So if the first 10 shops that sign up from this podcast will get 25% off for life and free onboarding, where I personally will help you set everything up. That's pythiastechnologies.com/founding for that deal.
Sweet.
So
All right.
that's how you can reach out to us.
Wow, thank you for that. I love that. There you go. If you're just by being a Two Regular Guys listener, you're going to save money and get Michael. That's pretty awesome. Cool. Michael, this has been great. Thank you so much for reaching back out and saying, "Hey, we're doing some new stuff," and but just sharing along the way too. I think really understanding from top to bottom, right? Like people's shops can be improved, and then you want the easy button. Okay, go to pythiastechnology.com/founder, right? So there's your easy button. But it's like you gave us all the information too, so we really appreciate your time here today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All
Thanks,
right,
Mike. All right.
good stuff, Terry. This is that was great. And you and I could geek out about that stuff. We next time we see.
100%.
Yeah, next time we see Michael in person, we probably will spend plenty of time geeking out about the whole thing. That's definitely in our wheelhouse. So I love
Yeah.
that
Well,
he shared that with us.
and Aaron, something that scares people about automation and AI and all that kind of thing that Michael made a point of saying early on in the conversation was you still need people. You need people to make those decisions. You need people to do the process. So
Absolutely.
this isn't the Jetsons. You're not going to push a button and everything starts happening for you.
Exactly.
People are still the integral part of any of these programs.
Yeah.
So.
And even on the Jetsons, it was about the people. Yes, there was a few robots, but it was still about spacely sprockets and there was still a boss there and all of that stuff. So all right, well, this has been that was awesome, Terry. I know the Big Book of Travels is getting ready because there's going to be even more fun travels than just the normal Terry Big Book of Travels.
I know, yeah.
We can hold. I know you're getting to that point, so we'll talk about that maybe on a future episode. But what's coming up for you?
All right, my complete screen printing business course, upcoming dates with Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago. I'll be there August 22nd and 23rd, and I'll also be there November 7th and 8th. Speaking of the DAX show, I'll be at DAX Twin Cities August 7th and 8th, and that will be in the DTF Superstore booth. And watch for all my upcoming events at terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron?
There you go. So if you've been in Terry's screen printing classes, be there in in the Twin Cities, right? I think you told me that was like I remember that time when we got together. You must have had a dozen or more people sitting around that were all in
Yeah.
your printing class.
Yeah, it was old home week there in Minnesota for some reason. That's the show that a lot of former screen printing class students go to. And yeah, we took a group photo and had at least a dozen people in the group photo who had attended my class. So it was a lot of fun.
That is fun. All right, for me, Terry. First off, I want to personally invite people to something I'm really excited. It's going to be here in the St. Charles area of Missouri. So October 30th and 31st, I am going to be. It's not really mine, but I get to be part of it. So Becky Kotzer and Sandy Lundstrom from the Mastermind program are putting on a retreat. It's going to be an awesome retreat. It's called Purpose Plus Profit, where we just get together for a couple of days. I get to teach plenty of stuff, but we're also going to be getting into, knowing your numbers and all sorts of it's going to be amazing 2 days. So October 30th and 31st. And it's a place where small business owners can step away from the noise, reconnect with their purpose, get really practical strategies for stronger profits, and build a real community of people who understand the journey. I don't always put enough emphasis on that part of it, Terry, but in watching how Becky and Sandy have grown their businesses, they rely so heavily on that community that they've built that they want to share that community with other people. So because of that, the way to build that community is we just really intentionally limit the number of spaces. So there is that opportunity for connection. So if that sounds like a room you need to be in, you can direct message me, or you can reach Becky Kotzer, and you can find both of us on Facebook. Or if you just want to email me directly, Aaron@oursuccessgroup.com, we will get you the details, and we will allow you to grab one of those remaining spots. We already have a couple of spots filled, so I do think this one's going to fill up. And again, October 30th and 31st, Purpose Plus Profit Retreat here in St. Charles, Missouri. The St. Charles is like moments from the airport, maybe 10, 15 minutes from the airport here in St. Louis. So come on in. We'll make sure you're taken care of, and everything's included. Hotel, you just show up and be part of this awesome experience. So
With your junior legal pad, that's all you need. October 31st, is it costume optional?
Costume optional. Yeah. We did think about that, but I think most people will be okay. And if you want to dress up, cool, bring it. Everybody's welcome. We love having a little bit of fun too. You guys know that about me. My book title, fun in all caps, right over there. All right, so that's happening. I'm really excited about that. So again, please just reach out to me, Aaron@oursuccessgroup.com. We'll get you details. We'll get you signed up. The last DAX of the year, as we've talked about already, is happening. It's right there on the horizon. Terry mentioned it already. Minneapolis, Minnesota, August 7th and 8th. I will be teaching 3 classes. Plus, you can find me in the Super Gamut booth, which will be right up front there as you walk in the doors. Plus, if you use the code SuperRob2026, you will get a $30 education credit and free show floor entry. Just head over to DAXshow, DAXSHOW.com. The first class I'm teaching is on Friday morning, The Myth of Everyone is My Customer, where we're going to talk about why it's crucial for your business to clearly define your niche. And then I'm going to show you how to do that. And we'll even map out your own ideal customer blueprint, which once you have that, it's going to allow you to market better. It's going to allow you to design the ideal business more clearly. It's going to improve your production, and it's going to improve your customer relationships just by having that ideal customer blueprint. So that's happening Friday, August 7th at 10:30 a.m. Immediately after that, I'm teaching Bye Bye Burnout, where we'll deal with overwhelm, find a system to better manage your business instead of your business managing you, and learn how to prevent burnout before it starts and create sustainable habits. And so that's on Friday. It starts at noon. We'll have a little 15-minute break, and then we'll just pop right back in there. It will be an awesome experience. I've had so much good feedback on those classes, Terry. I'm blown away by people showing up and really taking the information to heart. And then you've been in it a couple times now, and so you can vouch for us here. But there's an awesome discussion happening the next morning at 8:30 Rob Super and Sean Stewart of Super Gamut and I talk about DTF 101 from file to finished prints, what actually matters. And we basically get into the weeds of all the places you might be losing profit without even knowing it in your DTF business. I think as we started talking, that's what really stood out to me. Like, oh, I bet you people don't even think about that, right? They just go about their day and they're going, why am I not getting anywhere? And so I think it's great for existing DTF printers for sure, but it also is a great foundation for you if you're not in DTF yet. So you can kind of see the full picture. I think, unfortunately, at times there's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there. The DTF is still a wild west place. We've seen it recently on Facebook groups, see people talking about, oh, this and that, and like, okay, you're missing the point, right? Like
Exactly.
like the Epson, for example. I think the Epson's a great tool, as you agree with, for the right people, right? When it's hands free. Anyhow, I don't want to get too deep.
And it's a free seminar.
That's right. That's right. Come to the free seminar. So that's happening Saturday, August 8th at 8:30 a.m. And I think that's it for me. Do you want to share Eric's here?
Yeah, absolutely. Join Eric today for the Take Up episode 257, Against Magical Thinking. I think we're about to get a little preview of that. What can we control? In this episode, Eric takes on not only the magical solution so frequently touted in online embroidery spaces, but tucks in the realities of what we can control and in which stage of the embroidery process we get our chance at making a difference in our outcomes. So jump in at 2:30 Mountain, 4:30 Eastern. Head over to ericcampbell.com, and you can also watch on YouTube, which I believe is up on your screen right now.
There you go. So check that out. And definitely. And like you said, Terry, I think we are about to get a preview of this. I'm really looking forward to this secret sauce. I think you need the secret sauce and then go get the rest of the full meal at 2:30 Mountain and 4:30 Eastern time, right? Does that sound right? Okay, Eric's shaking his head. So speaking of Eric shaking his head, Eric, are you ready to jump in with some secret sauce? All right, let's do it.
All right, folks. Well, as I mentioned today earlier, and as Terry introduced for me, I'm going to talk about being against magical embroidery thinking today a little bit. And if there's one thing I consistently see in the larger world of embroidery digitizing drives me nuts, it's the largely unfounded way in which embroiderers try and fix their problems. Though I've taught many times how to tell the difference between digitizing disasters and the most common machine-related catastrophes, every trip to the comments on any YouTube video or Instagram post or Facebook question finds me buried in a mass of this magical thinking. Strictly defined, magical thinking is the belief that your thoughts, wishes, or actions can directly cause external, unrelated events in ways that defy logical cause or effect. In this case, I'm not suggesting embroiderers are literally willing their designs to run well and failing. My focus is on the second half of that definition, doing things that defy logical cause and effect. Frequently, I find recommendations for poorly executed embroidery that logically couldn't or shouldn't affect the problems described by the original person who made the post. Problems with stabilizer blamed on digitizing, machine maintenance issues are chalked up to garment problems, or thread choice is lauded as a panacea for anything to do with lettering. Something I'm going to talk about in detail. The truth is, though, that some of these tips can be helpful in the right circumstances, but most of the information is repeated and funneled through a telephone game of diminishing usefulness as suggestions become stripped from their original context. Today, I'm going to combat a little of this magical thinking by describing some of the common refrains of the embroidery world and just reframing it in the physicality of what really happens with embroidery and why we make the changes that we make. And the one I'm going to talk about today very briefly is 60-weight thread. If you see anyone stitching small lettering, no matter the issue they may have, the first thing that anyone says if there's any kind of problem is they want to switch to thinner thread, switch to 60 weight. This is actually a sound practice in a lot of ways, but you have to think about what the thinner thread offers to understand why or why not to use it in your particular situation. Thinner thread accompanied by a thinner needle for 60 weight thread, that's a 65-9 needle, will allow you to create shorter stitches without dropping the needle in the hole from the previous stitch penetration. It can result in finer detail and a smoother edge due to the use of higher densities to create coverage and the allowance of that about 25% thinner satin stitches and smaller lines. The thing is, this can allow small holes in lettering to stay open and it can produce those finer lines in your text. That said, thinner thread does not solve problems like registration issues due to shifting substrates. If your underlay is way off from your top stitching, Thinner thread probably won't be the only thing you need to fix that problem. Thinner thread also requires more density for coverage, about 25% more for 60 weight than 40 weight. If you have jagged edges on your lettering and you move to thinner thread, depending on why the edges look sparse or look jagged, it might be worse, not better, with that thinner thread. If you don't have the right density, or if you're using a stock design that was properly digitized for 40 weight thread with a light, even coverage. Moreover, if you're experiencing quality issues because the hat or the coarse canvas bag you're stitching on is causing needle deflection, thus breaking up your satin stitches that weave the support structure or the bundles of fiber in the fabric, move the needle around, a thinner needle might just exacerbate this problem. 60 weight thread is great for finer detail, but it's not a magical make my lettering better button. Digitize with 60 weight thread in mind, use it in the right context, and it can be amazing. Use it for the wrong reason, that's a waste of time. This is a case with many of the issues we face. Whether it's the way we hoop a garment, how much and what kind of stabilizer we use, how we alter our design files, or how we set up our equipment, any tip you get is only as useful as the fitness it has for the actual situation you're encountering. So what does this mean for us as we look for help? How do we avoid this magical thinking? Well, number one, you want to know your medium. What does stabilizer do? How can thread choice affect the way that things look? How do different needles change the way my design runs? What environment was this design made for? Was it made for the kind of garment I'm using? How does material texture affect the clarity of my lines? What can changing a parameter in my digitizing software like density do to affect a design? You have to think logically and physically about what can and can't be changed at each stage of the production and know the levers you have to adjust for the process. You need to know if you're adjusting something in the design, adjusting something in the hooping, adjusting something the way the machine operates, what that does to your overall outcome and where it makes sense. You need to observe and ask questions. What is actually happening in the hoop the design runs? I know lots of folks don't want to watch a machine run endlessly, but when you're having trouble with the design or when you're just learning, it really is important to observe. If something's out of place, watch the design run and look for the problem. Is the stabilizer not stout enough for the heavy design? Is the material slipping in the hoop? Is the hoop shifting on the machine? Is the direction of stitching pushing material around in an unexpected way as it's moving? What is actually happening? And that's something that you have to look and be curious and take note to do. Also, you want to test scientifically. Make a hypothesis based on what you know and what you observe when you're trying to fix things. Make a controlled change and test it out. Those can certainly be part of troubleshooting a design as it goes wrong. It's even better if you take it upon yourself to do this outside of your production line as a way to familiarize yourself with embroidery. Test under real-world conditions, using a design, materials, and the machine you expect to run designs on in actual production to do your testing. Direct testing like this nets you immediate, useful feedback. In conclusion, and in all honesty, this really is just a long way of saying the following. And it's a phrase I say often. Take note and take notes. What it means is you take notice and then you write things down. You stay curious and keep poking the buttons and keep track of what you learn. Experimental experience, when liberally seasoned with common sense, might just be the best secret sauce that you could ever employ.
Right. Test in real world conditions. That's great advice no matter how you're decorating.
Yeah. Yeah, Terry, you got a little sauce on your chin there. That was really good. All right. Well, this has been awesome, Terry. What a great day. Glad to be back here. Excited to be back on the pod, but also excited that we left it in really good hands, and Eric gave us the microphones back. That's very nice of him. All right, you guys. Well, we have come to the close of another show today. We want to thank Michael for his time today. Also, I'm just blown away. It's awesome that he's willing to share such a great deal with our listeners. 25% off, no setup fees. First 10 people who sign up, if you'll just go to pythiastechnologies.com/founding. And Eric's got it right there on screen if you're watching live. But for the podcast listeners, that's founding, FOUNDING. So go take advantage of that awesome deal.
And that's 25% off going forward. So
yeah, forever.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Awesome deal. Thanks to our show producer, Eric Campbell, for taking over the microphones last week, for doing Secret Sauce today and keeping us on the air, pushing those buttons, turning those wheels.
He's like a DJ too, but we won't talk about his rapper name. All right. Thank you, Eric. And sorry, Eric. How about that? Both 2 and 1. Terry, next week we get a little break. We're taking Independence Day off. We're going to celebrate America's 250th birthday, and going to be awesome. So no 2 regular guys next week, but we're not going anywhere. The following week we'll be right back. We're going to have Mark, and I'm going to get his name wrong, so I'm going to hold off on that till I can confirm. It starts with a P. So I was on his podcast too. It's sad that I didn't get his name exactly right. But anyhow, we're going to have Mark with Sales Wisdom as his company name. So obviously right there, you want to be tuned in because he does know what he's talking about when it comes to sales. And he's been on the print side of our world. I've met him through Printing United. And so we really want to talk to him about how print and apparel converge. And and he's going to help us then, okay, as an apparel decorator, how could we sell printing, but then take those same techniques and build them into our own selling tool belt, so to speak, Terry. So I'm looking forward to talking to Mark in 2 weeks here.
Me as well. And until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the 2 regular guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of 2 Regular Guys. We're here because of listeners like you, and we're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. For more valuable insight, be sure to visit our website, 2regularguys.com, and join the conversation on our Facebook page. And hey, if you or someone you know has expertise, a unique perspective, or a story worth sharing, we'd love to have them as a guest on the show. Just reach out. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about the equipment you own or the techniques you've mastered. It's about the mindset you bring and the connections you build. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to think differently. Keep pressing on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the 2 Regular Guys.